Guys, I've had a couple of people email me about number 19 and how to solve for it. I was also at the tutoring center today, and a lot of students came in specifically for help on how to solve number 19. Now, these type of problems are a little difficult, right? But I promise if we just take it a step at a time, we'll get through it. One thing to note is that we have two variables. We have an x and y's, right? So a lot of the time that just means that we're going to have to create some sort of system of equations, right? And a system of equations, and what we're going to try to achieve through a systems of equations is, hey, we're going to have these two equations, right? And those two equations will, what we're trying to do is we're trying to combine them so that they're both true at the exact same time. So there's going to be one point where x and y are a certain value, and both of those equations are true at the same time. So let's just start off by writing one equation. So I noticed that I've got these two here. And I'm going to go ahead and make those and highlight those in green. And these are corresponding angles. So the first equation we're going to write, since they're corresponding angles and corresponding angles are congruent, is that 2x plus 2y is equal to 4x minus y, right? That's our first equation. We can't really do anything with it. Yes, we could probably start moving things around. We can solve for x, we can solve for y. But I'm just going to leave this alone for now. And let's just write another equation. So for the second equation, what we're going to do is there's a couple different ways that we can take this. The first way is saying, hey, we've got 4y and 4x minus y, and those are same side interior angles, so therefore they're supplementary. So we could say it's 4y plus 4x minus y is equal to 180. However, I'm going to actually use this one just because it looks easier to me, right? And you're probably saying, well, what can we do with these? Well, this here, these are a linear pair, so they're also supplementary. So it doesn't matter which way you do it. I'm just going to use the top one because it just looks simpler, right? So I'm going to write 2x plus 2y plus 4y is equal to 180. Now let's try to combine these. Let's use elimination. So again, we're trying to find where both of these are true at the exact same time. So let's do so. So the first step whenever we're doing a systems of equation or we're solving for a system is that we have to get all of our variables on one side. In this case, I'm going to put them all on the left, and then all of our constants on the other. So in this case, on the right. So let's go ahead and just start by going ahead and subtracting 4x on both sides and then adding y. Right, this is just inverse of operations. So we end up getting negative 2x plus 3y is equal to 0, right? 4x minus 4x is 0. Negative y plus y is 0. The absence of a number is still a number. And in this case, they're both just going to be 0, right? So 0 plus 0, 0. For the blue, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and just combine our like terms. So 2x, so we can't really do anything. We don't have another like term, but we do have two y's. We have 2y and 4y. So 2y plus 4y is 6y, and it is equal to 180. So from here, I've got my system of equation. I noticed that, hey, look at this. So we've got a positive 2 and a negative 2. So not only are they equal, but they're opposite. So what we're going to do is it's going to go ahead and add all three of these terms here down. So I'm going to go ahead and write that in black. Negative 2x plus x is just 0x, right? So we're just going to completely omit that. In this case, we can just omit the 0 because 0 plus anything is 0. Is that anything, right? So in this case, my anything is going to be 3y plus 6y, giving us 9y. Right, so 9y plus 0 is 9y. So we can just omit that 0. And then 0 plus 180 is 180. Divide by 9, and we found our first term. Our first term, y, is going to be 20. Now from here, you can either pick the green or the blue. In my case, I'm going to go ahead and just pick this blue one. And we're going to go ahead and just plug in our y being 20 to solve for x. So I'm going to have 2x plus 6y, or 20, is equal to 180. So 2x plus 120 is equal to 180. We're going to go ahead and subtract 120 to get 2x is equal to 60. Divide by 2, and we get x is 30. So if we were to plug these in, right, x is 30, y is 20, then 2 times 30 is 60, plus 2 times 20 is 40, we get 100, and then 4 times 20 is 80, so hey, that was 180, right? And if we do the same thing with our same side interior angles, well, 2x plus 2 or 4 times 30, that's going to be 120. Yes, minus y, and that's going to give us minus 20, and we end up getting 100. 100 here, right? And remember that these here are also supposed to be supplementary. So, and because these are congruent, we know we did it right. So x is 30, y is 20. So the other problem that students were having an issue with, see if I can find it, is this one here. Yes, it's this one here. Oh, they were also having a problem with 36, but now that you know how to set up a system, I'm sure you guys can figure out 36. I don't want to make this video too long. So here, right, we have two things. We know that angle 1 is equal to x squared plus 6x minus 50. And we also know that angle 2 is equal to 4x plus 30. All right, our goal is to find x and then to solve for angle 1, or to find the answer for angle 1. So here, right, this might look a little difficult, but if I just extend these lines, it's going to look like a transversal, and not just any regular transversal, but remember, it kind of has that weird little box that I like to make to tell us whether things are interior or exterior, right? So if you notice, I've got two parallel lines plus a transversal. And so therefore this and this, they're interior angles. They're on opposite sides of my transversal, so they're alternate interior angles. And for those who remember, alternate interior angles are congruent. So my first step is going to be to set them equal to each other. So x squared plus 6x minus 50 is equal to 4x plus 30. And I'll change that into color blue just so that we know that that's the blue one that we're talking about, right? Cool. From here, notice that we pretty much have a quadratic, and so we have to start by factoring. And we can't start by factor. We want to factor, so we need to set one side equal to 0. So I'm going to leave this x squared and all this here alone. Let's go ahead and subtract away positive 4x by minus 4x, and that 30 by minus 30. So I do minus 30 minus 4x, and now everything carries down, right? Anything that I didn't touch carries down, so the x squared becomes x squared, it stays. 6x minus 4x is 2x, and then negative 50 minus 30 is negative 80, and that's equal to 0. So from here, you guys can use your x method, whatever method you like, right? I just know that I need something that adds up to negative 80, and that multiplies to negative 80, that adds up to positive 2. I'm just going to start somewhere in the middle, so let's do 5 and 16, right? That's 80. The bigger one has to be positive, so this gives us an 11. So let's try negative 6, now negative 7, negative 8, and 10. Oh, and hey, look, this adds up to positive 2. So I know there's been a little bit of confusion. Hey, why do we not always split the middle? Well, technically we do. We just know that at the end of the day, we're going to have something that looks like this, right? We're going to have an x, and then we're going to have an x, because x times x, right, is, so the only nice way of getting x squared is by doing x by x. So we know we're going to end up getting to this point eventually. So we generally skip the whole splitting the middle. But for those who wanted to see it, I know some of you guys did during the tutoring center, I'm just going to go ahead and do that. So again, you don't have to split the middle. You can just jump down right into this, right? And if you'd like to do that, go ahead and just skip through the video. But I'm going to go ahead and split the middle to show you that we are able to skip it whenever my x squared has an a of 1. So here we go. So I'm just going to write x squared. And you know what? I'm going to keep the negative 80 with the 8. So the way I'm going to split this is I'm going to write x squared plus 10x minus 8x minus 80 is equal to 0, right? From here, we're going to go ahead and we're going to split the middle, right? I'm going to put these in parentheses, put a plus in the middle, and now we're going to start factoring. So from here, we can pull an x out, and that's it. So we're going to be left with x plus 10. And then from the right side, we can pull out a negative 8. And so I'm left with an x plus 10. Now we can obviously pull out an x plus 10, and we're left with this x minus 8. So the x minus 8 goes in here. We can only pull out one x plus 10, right? It's the same way whenever we unfactor, or whenever we factor something out, we're essentially undistributing. So we are undistribute out an x plus 10, and this is our final answer. So again, this is exactly why we skip this step here whenever a is equal to 1. We always end up getting to here, and so we can just skip all this split the middle just to come straight here. Okay, so now we're here. Let's try to figure out the rest of my answers. So remember, this is from here. All of these are still always equal to zero. So we can use our what was it called? It's a zero product rule, something like that, right? So where we said x minus 8 is equal to 0, x plus 10 is equal to 0, add 8 minus 10, and we get two answers. X is equal to 8 and x is equal to negative 10. Now, I always suggest checking both answers because not always do both answers work, right? So let's go ahead and just plug in one of these, right? Let's plug in the negative 10 because usually the negative one is the one that doesn't, not usually, but sometimes it's the negative that doesn't work, right? Because we can't have negative degrees, negative degreed angles. So let's go ahead and just write x. So we're going to go ahead and plug it into x squared plus 6x minus 50. So negative 10 squared plus 6 times negative 10 minus 50. We get 100 minus 60 minus 50, and this is negative 10. So right off the bat, I know that this is not going to be one of my answers. So more than likely, x is equal to 8 is going to be my answer, but we're going to go ahead and check it anyway. And generally, I'd like to check both, but this video is getting a little long, and I know that it's going to be positive here. So because it's a positive times a positive plus a number, right? So that's going to work. So let's check this one. So 8 squared plus 6 times 8 minus 50. 64 plus 48 minus 50. I know that's positive, right? Because these are just 64 minus 2, 62. So here we go. We got a 62 as our answer. And hey, look at that. We were checking the measurement of 1 and we found the measurement of 1. So the measure of angle 1 is 62 degrees. So just by checking it, we figured whether it was going to be right or wrong, and we did. We got a positive the first time, we got a negative, so it can't be the negative 10. So our answer is x equals 8, and the measure of angle 1 is 62 degrees. So that's it. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys tomorrow.